Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and I was always told I had a voice radio, so today I am bringing you my Burning Shadows buy list. That is a new Pokemon expansion that's just come out, which cards you need to have in your binder. A lot of people prefer buying singles rather than buying booster packs, so here are the singles you should have. Now, a couple of rules before we get going. There are certain cards that might be fun, think Lucario, that you might want to make decks with. That's absolutely up to you, but they should never be particularly expensive. The GXs generally are expensive, and for these ones you should only ever buy GXs for collections because there's a deck you really want to make, or because, like Tapu Lele for instance, they're just plain amazing. So as a general rule, try not to buy too many GXs because they just get really expensive. And when I say evolutions, for instance, I'm going to tell you about LYCANROC, don't forget you'll need a Rockruff as well. So starting off with the Pokemon, the WIMPOD in Burning Shadows, as far as I'm concerned, is the best one, so make sure you've got 4 of them. The new Alolan Ninetales has an amazing ability that blocks EXs and GXs. It's going to be a great tech in Alolan Ninetales GX decks, but it's just a good Pokemon generally. I would get 2 to 4 of these, but remember that the Alolan Vulpix from Sun and Moon is much better than the one in this set. The RAICHU here has a really good ability that gives you automatic paralysis, so I would get 1 or 2 of them in your deck. The ELEKTROSS is a weird one here because I really like the attack, but only in expanded when we've got the really good electric as well as the trio of Reshiram, Zekrom and Kyurem for outrage damage. So if you're playing an expanded, I'd get 1 to 2 of these. SEVIPER, I think you need 4 of these in your binder at some point. They shouldn't be expensive in the short term, but especially in expanded when we got stuff like Seismitoad and Hypnotoxic Laser, this ability to add poison damage could be amazing. The new LYCANROC is a Pokemon I think you should have 2 to 4 of in your binder. Firstly, we've got the LYCANROC GX that everyone's using to great effect at the moment, and secondly, 60 for 1 energy is good, especially when you start adding in strong energy, choice band, etc. I'm a big fan of this LYCANROC. I think you need a couple in your binder. RATICATE looks a little bit rogue decky, but 60 damage for 0 energy, 90 if it's a choice band. I mean, I know this seems like a bit of a rogue deck, so you might want to wait a bit before you get RATICATE, but there's so much potential here. I think you at least need to consider having 4 of these in your binder. And similarly, I feel the exact same way against WEAVILE. Yes, WEAVILE is more of kind of a rogue deck than a you need it in your binder right this second, but WEAVILE has the potential to be really good and thus at some point become really expensive. 60 damage for 1 energy to any Pokemon that has an ability. For a colourless energy, which means it can be teched into any deck, with free retreat, I think WEAVILE is one of the biggest surprises from Burning Shadows, and I think you could definitely use a playset of these sitting in your binder just in case. I think you should have a couple of DIANCIE in your binder, especially if you ever play an Evolution Fairy deck. The Sparkling Wish attack that allows you to evolve from your deck is too gosh darned good, and I think you need a couple of them. Speaking of fairy Pokemon that you should have a couple of in your deck, how about Ribombee? But Ribombee really is even better because it can be teched into anything. It's just Professor's Letter or the Power Choreo, but it's every single turn. I've not seen people using this in their decks yet, but I think it's only a matter of time before people start putting this in. And again, this buy list really is firstly to try and make sure you don't get hit by sudden jumps in price, and secondly to try and make sure that if you want to build a deck, you've got all the cards you need already sitting in your binder. And finally, in terms of Pokemon, Porygon Z. Now, you only need 1 to 2 of these, but we've already seen how good Espeon EX can be. Porygon Z's got a similar thing as an ability. I can't say this is definitely going to see play, But I can say I would be surprised if this was not teched into some decks before this set is rotated out, so get 1 or 2 in your binder in case you ever need to play it. Moving into trainers, and general rule for trainers, you need 4 of each. Take the example of the old AZ. AZ was a card that people would play 1 or 2 of in their deck, and then Vileplume came out to block item cards, so it was harder to search for and you couldn't reuse it with Versus Seeker, and all of a sudden it became a 4 of. So I'm not going to give you numbers for the trainer cards, just try and get 4 of them. Acerola, it's like AZ that we just mentioned. You get to pick up one of your damaged Pokemon, all cards attached to it, it's great. Bodybuilding Dumbbells gives 40 HP to, or another 40 HP to any stage 1 Pokemon you're playing. This is too splashable, too techable. Even though it's not seeing much play yet, the potential here is way too good. You need to be prepared. Escape Rope, a lot of you probably already have if you've been playing for a while, but you need Escape Rope, it's great. And similarly, Super Scoop Up and Weakness Policy are also reprints. If you don't have them, get them. If you do have them, yay! Guzma is amazing, and honestly, until it gets reprinted, it's only going to go up in price. This happened with cards like Pokemon Catcher and Lysander. They're so good that they have to be played in every single deck. And then as the set in which they're printed gets older and older, the number of people wanting it goes up, but the number in circulation remain the same, and the price just keeps going up. You need to get yourself a minimum 2 Guzma, but really you need 4. Kiawe, I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, attaching 4 energy from the deck is great. There will be decks that use Kiawe. Even though it ends your turn, it's good. You need it. Plumeria, I'm a little bit torn on Plumeria. Or Plumeria, I don't know how to pronounce it. Who cares? I'm sure you all do. Stick it down in the comments. Yay, be nice. Cardinal rule. In terms of Plumeria, yeah, I mean, it's not amazing, but you can see that discarding one of your opponent's energy from anywhere on their field is just a good thing for disruption decks, and you need to be prepared. Po-Town is already really good for stuff like, I don't know, Drampa that needs damage on your side of the field. It's just a good stadium, and especially with Team Magma's secret base rotating out, there is potential here. Rotom Dex is an okay consistency card. It's not amazing, and especially with Gardevoir running around, it's not seeing play at the moment, but there's every chance it might in the future, so why don't you pick it up now while it's nice and cheap? Sophocles, again, it's not an amazing supporter card, and I don't think it's seeing play at the moment, and it might never see play. But if it's not seeing play at the moment, that just means it's cheap for now, so why not get in there while you can? And finally, Wishful BATON. There is, and I know Field Blower's around, and I know Field Blower hurts it, but there's a lot of potential here with Wishful BATON, and I think you need to be prepared. Now, looking at GXs, again, we're going to err on the side of caution with GXs. So these are the ones I think you really need. 1 Tapu FIni. Tapu FIni is an amazing tech in water decks, especially with Aqua Patch. It's just way too good. It's got 3 good attacks, but not only does it have 3 good attacks, it's also got 1 attack for a colourless energy, which, along with a choice band that every deck is playing, will do 100 to a water weak GX. This is actually really techable outside of water decks for that. It's great in water decks. I think you need one in your binder. NECROZMA GX is great because of the ability that allows you to copy any attacks of your basic Pokemon in your discard pile. For that reason, Marshadow is a great tech against any fighting weak deck like Darkrai or Drampa, although it is coming as a tin promo, so if you don't need it now, wait for the tin. Speaking of Pokemon that you need 1 or 2 of that are coming out in tins, how about NECROZMA GX? And this time I actually mean NECROZMA, rather than a minute ago when I said Marshadow, and I meant NECROZMA. Especially with Ninja Boy, the GX attack doing 100 to GXs and EXs. Way too good, ladies and gentlemen. You can use it for colourless energy, you can get it as a surprise with Ninja Boy. It's coming in a tin, but you still need 1 or 2 of these however you get it. I think Gardevoir GX might be good enough to warrant you buying it. The thing is, Gardevoir GX is already one of the favourite decks to win the World Championships. just coming up in August this month. And if it's as good as it could be, the price will only go up. If you have faith in Gardevoir, if you want to play it, if you buy the hype, you need to go and get 3 or 4 of these sooner rather than later. I am not usually a man that runs out and buys new GXs, but I did it for Seismitoad because it was so darn good. I did it for Mewtwo back in the day, and you know what? I'm doing it for Gardevoir GX. I've already got 2 and I'm getting a 3rd sooner rather than later. So you know what? I think this might be one of the rare examples where you need to go and get it earlier rather than later. But if you disagree with me, that's fine. Just don't go and buy them. Golisopod, I really like Golisopod, but after Worlds it's going to lose the evolutions, it's going to lose Forest of Giant Plants, and it's coming out as a promo anyway, so you can probably hold off on that. Similarly, NOIVERN GX I think could be really good now, but after Worlds Double Dragon Energy's rotating, so I'm not buying it, but you might need it for Worlds. And Darkrai GX I'm not a huge fan, but in the expanded format with Dark Patch and Hypnotoxic Laser, remember the GX gives an instant KO if your opponent has a special condition, and then expanded Hypnotoxic Laser is an amazing way to do that. If you're going to play expanded, I think Darkrai might be worth the investment. And just to finish off, a reminder of the GXs that are coming out as promos. Charizard, the full art, is coming out in the GX Premium Collection. Salazzle and Golisopod are coming out in the Team Skull Pin Collection. And Ho-Oh, NECROZMA and Marshadow are the newest tin promos coming out in the near future. If you need any of those GXs for decks now, then you'll have to go and buy them now. But if you can wait, hold off on all of those GXs, because even though Charizard is coming out as a full art, whenever you get a promo, it will lower the price of the regular. So even if you don't want the promos of these, the regular prices will be lowered. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the buy list from Burning Shadows. I know you guys want these buy lists, at least a bunch of you do, so make sure that you tell your friends about this, try and get the viewing numbers up. I'm going to continue doing these buy lists as long as they are popular enough to warrant me doing them. So tell your friends, post links around, etc, etc. And of course, if you have your own buy list, if you've got cards you think I missed or cards I put on you don't think I needed, that's what the comment section is there for. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. There are going to be streams this week, Wednesday, 8 PM UK time, Mario Kart, Thursday, 7 PM UK time, PTCGO, testing some of this lovely Burning Shadows stuff. And if you want to support the channel, get some bonus pods, etc., and there's a new bonus pod going up on Friday, then go and support me at patreon.com/PTCGradio. And by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.